So all I'm doing is using pressure to stop him from getting off the edge of the cot. All I'm doing is asking him to stay in one spot. He doesn't have to sit, he doesn't have to lay down. He's just on a dog cot and he has to just stay in the boundary. That's really stressful to him. All this, he's pulling and he's not able to get to where he wants to go. But that doesn't make sense to him because when he pulls, he gets to take a step normally. And so, so that's going to be difficult for him. So you might have to get over some of these humps with your own dog. It's very, very common. And so I don't want it to discourage you. Don't ask too much of your dog. All I'm doing is the same pressure on, pressure off, just not allowing him to get where he wants to go. And that's frustrating for him. He tried to jump up on me, get attention, which again is a coping mechanism. He's used to being able to get his way that way as well. And it's not working. All his normal stuff isn't working. So you're gonna get some frustration. That's normal. All I'm asking of him right now. We did do some jumping on and off for food. He was very comfortable with that. He's not comfortable being told where he can and can't go. That's not something that was nurtured early on. And so it's different. Anything different is gonna be stressful. Same with humans. So there's gonna be an adjustment period. Good. Good auto sit. Didn't last long, but that's okay. And I didn't get him jumping up on me, but he's kind of looking at me like he might again. But he's pawing at me, trying to like, how do I get somewhere other than where you're telling me to go? But see how this leash is loose? It's critical. It's critical when you decide to use it or not. I did have to pull a little bit on that one because he snuck off a bit. Good, and then it goes loose again. And he's gonna try another corner, not this corner either. Good. He backed up onto the cot. He pulled that foot back on. When I felt him do that, I said, good, released tension on the leash. A lot of this is kind of feeling the dog. Good. Good. You have to understand that dogs, like that tension right there, that's normal for him. That's how he gets to where he wants to go. So trying to switch that up would be tough. And we are gonna move to prong collar with him, just in case anybody's wondering. It's just he is sensitive and I wanted to feel him out on slip leash first. And he will definitely be moving to prong collar. He can whine, it's no big deal. I'm not addressing that right now, not concerned about that. Now what I'll do on our second time doing this, I'll probably do the exact same thing, see if he improves. If he doesn't, if he keeps critically hanging, I'm gonna stand up a bit. No. Be a bit more clear. Good. And we do this again and he's really hanging on the edge of this corner, just really hyper focusing to a toxic level to get back inside. And honestly, if he was inside, he'd probably want to be outside, truly. That's just kind of how this works. They just get honed in on something and they're like, that's where I want to get to. I'll start to adjust that. I'll start to target him more in the middle of the mat and not let him feed that neediness on that corner. Good. Good. See, now he's starting to see other things, starting to take in his environment more. Look at that. It's because he's calming down. Really nice. All right, take 2. Let's see how much faster, if faster, he settles this time. It's already got whining the moment I had him hop on here. Hope you guys understand at home that this is a huge mental drain for dogs, which is a benefit. I don't mean that as a negative, it's a benefit. I will absolutely use blocking, which you saw me in the last video, if I feel like the dog's not improving. So if the dog is not improving on their own and making better decisions just based off of leash pressure on their own, that is when we throw in a leash pop or blocking or something along those lines. Do I go ahead and, oh wow, that was way faster. Do I go ahead and put a prong collar on him and proof the boundary? Do I use blocking? Do I stick with just leash guidance until the dog settles some? All of that greatly depends on the dog. But this is something you guys could try with your dog at home. If I get a dog that's giving me attitude, I will be more firm up front, like really clear. This is the point of this exercise. I need you to not walk off the edge of this mat. And then we go back to guidance again. That tends to cut through some of that where they learn faster and they do better than this type of exercise. So much of it depends on what we're dealing with. With a dog that has a lot of anxiety, that's kind of pushy. It's the same thing, I'll be a bit more firm. This particular case is a little different. The pushiness comes from a pitiful, younger type of headspace, insecure, used to getting what they want kind of attitude. So it's like, let's really make his brain work. Let's really see if he can figure this out on his own. Whereas with a much larger dog that I couldn't even physically do this with like a slip leash, I would throw in a few corrections. I hope this gives you an idea of a different way you can introduce place. I'm actually not teaching place right now. I don't want that to be a misconception. I'm not teaching place. I am asking him to just stay in one spot and not step off of a boundary. It has to be some sort of clear boundary. I'm just saying you gotta stay right here. I could do the same thing without place, and I have before, where I just sit down and I just need the dog to hang next to me. They don't get to go where they want. They can sit or lay down, but they just have to hang out next to me. And they'll do the same thing. A boundary can make it a little bit easier and clearer for the dog, but I'll show you what I mean. So he's whining, but I mean, he's just doing so much better. While I was talking, he got up once into a sit. I just held leash pressure and he laid back down. There's no sniffing either. Good. There's just boring existence. In this dog's case, in Ranger's case, he's a very young dog with some insecurity and neediness. He seems to be pretty soft all the way around emotionally. And so I don't want to ask too much of him on his very first day. We want to target behavioral. Don't get me wrong, he's going to learn all of his basic obedience while he's here, but we're targeting state of mind, and that's what this does. And it made him much more tired, even though he's not doing physical exercise. The mental exercise is intense, and he was the quietest he's been in crate, that's for sure. We'll see how he is after this bout. Good boy. When they're able to make these small steps to the sit, to the down on their own, occasionally with a little help, but mostly on their own, by you just taking away their choices.
No, you can't step off that dog bed. No, you can't sniff. It's all through leash and body language. And when you take away all their choices and the brain goes through this thinking process, hardcore thinking process of having to settle down on their own. That's where the mental work comes in. Also them feeling like they have a choice. You took away all their movement choices, yes, but they're making the choice to sit or lay down. So they feel less constricted and told what to do all the time. No, sit down. And so this is not something we do 24/7 or all the time, but it is a really good technique for neediness, anxiety, pushiness with the leash, things like that. And it might just be a great challenge for your dog, where you say little to nothing. You just let your body language and your leash work do the rest and see how long it takes your dog to settle down.